Hey everyone, welcome back to Go Local Live. We had a lot of fun rearranging to do during the break, but right now in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center, I have with me an artist from the Providence-based design collective called Pneuhaus. Their work is so incredible. I can't wait to talk to you about it. This is August Lehrecke.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for bringing some models and stuff for us to look at today. Tell us a little bit about Pneuhaus, what you guys do, what you're about, and why you're based here in Providence.
Yeah, so Pneuhaus, essentially, we make large-scale interactive inflatable installations, and the reason I brought models here is because whenever I say that, people get very confused. But essentially, we sew fabrics and weld plastics together to create inflatable structures and for a public to engage and interact with. And two of us graduated from RISD and decided to stick around in Providence because it's an awesome city and we can get a lot of space for cheap. And one of us graduated from Ohio State University, so he had to move out here, but he's loving Providence as well.
Providence is a cool city, I have to admit. And so you have a studio now basically that you work out of, and you're building these structures. Tell us a little bit about that process, because anytime an artist is working in these sort of large scale kind of pieces, it's always sort of hard to wrap your head around how they're actually constructed and what that process is like to getting it to be these massive things.
Yeah. So it's a lot different than, say, a house or something, because at least you can see it being built at that scale the whole time you're working on it. With inflatables, you can imagine it's all soft until you inflate it, so it's actually a crunched up pile of fabric for most of the time you're making it, because you have to fit everything under the arm of a sewing machine, which is essentially, on typical ones, they're about a foot deep. So our typical process is we design everything on the computer so that we know how every panel will go together, and then we sort of come up with a construction plan, and the whole time we're sewing it, it looks like a pile of fabric. And then when it's done, if you've done everything right, it'll pop up into shape when the air is put into it. So. And
is that basically the only way to know if you've made a mistake somewhere along the process? It's like, let's blow it up and cross our fingers?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's signs when you're making it, so it's if something's twisted and you hold it out, then you know that's wrong, and you need to fix it. But really, the big answer comes for the first time you turn on the switch. So it's kind of a stressful but also very satisfying experience.
I bet after all that work, and you get to be like, turn on the switch and see it go.
Exactly.
So this is just out of my own curiosity, how much fabric does it take to make a sort of like fabric-based structure? Yeah,
so something about this size probably takes 100 yards, or half of a roll, which rolls typically come in 100 yards, 300 feet. So for this one, it depends. We had different colored fabrics, so each color takes about a half of a roll of that color.
Oh, I see.
So if added in total, a 20-foot structure would probably end up being 2 rolls of fabric, 200-yard rolls of fabric.
Crazy.
So
that is a lot of fabric to deal with. Good thing you have a nice big space.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, in this corner, we have a very small piece. This compared to what these are. I mean, here's a little dude to show you some scale. So these pieces are actually like made for people to like walk around inside and sort of enjoy it from the inside out, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big influence on our work, is that we're not really confined to a museum or something. We really like to engage the public. So the best part about these is that you can flip a switch and they pop up and people will see them and immediately start interacting. So engagement is really something that we really love to cultivate in people.
So I was, when we were talking on the phone, the moment you said large inflatables, the first thing that came to mind, and maybe because I have a toddler, is like a bounce house. On somebody's lawn for someone's birthday.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not too far from that. You have that like kind of blower apparatus thing, and you press the button and it inflates. And so is it the kind of thing where you can sort of like set them up, break them down very quickly like that?
Yeah, for sure. It's off and on, and usually for safety reasons we have to weigh it down with either sand or anchoring in grass. But yeah, it's exactly the same as a bouncy castle. We tend to think the genre of bouncy castles really hasn't changed much, so we're bringing it into the new age for adults, but also so you can think of it like a bouncy house. Yes.
Exactly. So tell us just quickly about this little piece in the corner.
Yes. So this is essentially a inflated helix. So it's spiral bound notebook, but if you imagine, instead of metal, it's inflated with air. So it's actually one piece of fabric cut out, and the same repeated piece, because of the angle that it's cut, will start to twist itself into a helix shape. But so this, we sort of like to mock up at this scale, and I know that's a big scale, but this could become something like a space, or if you imagine a person that could walk inside of this.
Oh my god, that'd be so cool.
So it'd be like an inflated spiral staircase. So it's sort of a scale that is comfortable, is mostly human size.
Right.
It takes the same amount of work to make something really tiny for us anyway.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So you might as well just go for the
Go
real
for
thing.
something that we can fit, yeah.
And so sometimes you incorporate other elements like lights. I know that there's a bunch of great photos on your website of some other like installations that you've done with lights, and so what is sort of the scope here? Like you're kind of, you and your team basically, how are you conceptualizing these ideas?
Yeah, well, a lot of our work, while being engaging, also has some type of phenomenological quality. So you mentioned light. We're really interested in how people can engage with color. So a lot of our installations like this one are built around sort of how the three different primary colors can project an entire spectrum. And because this structure is soft, anyone who's inside of the structure can sort of go in and like play with how the sun projects these colors. So maybe a little confusing, but essentially if you imagine your average color Venn diagram, red, blue, green, and the intersections create cyan, magenta, and yellow. By putting those colors on the outside and letting the sun come through them, depending on the angle of the sun, it projects a different spectrum that you can sort of observe and sort of play with by changing the fabric on the inside. So in terms of that,
so cool.
We just like to engage people with kind of fundamental properties that they wouldn't normally see. So
that is so cool. So you're going to be doing a piece for the Pawtucket Arts Festival coming up. So tell us a little bit about what this piece is going to be like, and how we can check it out.
Yes. So this Saturday, we will be done with this compound camera obscura, which we're calling it. It builds off the fundamental properties of a basic camera. So if you had a pinhole in a dark room, it would project an image on the inside of that. So we've sort of extrapolated that phenomena to occur 109 times, so over an entire dome. So if you imagine what a fly might see, you know how it has beady eyes and each one has an image. So what we've created for the Pawtucket Arts Festival is a kind of multifaceted camera. So when you walk in this thing, you'll be able to see hundreds of fractal images on a singular plane.
Oh my God.
So yes, we're now putting in all the lenses that it takes to turn each one into a little camera. Essentially. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that'll be up for display at the Pawtucket Arts Festival, and we're really hoping that people will come and engage with it in any way they see fit.
How long will it be there?
It'll be there for the whole festival. So it starts on Saturday at I think it goes from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then Sunday from 11 to 5 p.m. So we'll be up and running hopefully the whole time. So if you're in the area, please stop by and see the probably confusing things I'm describing to you.
I know it is sort of hard to, picture in your mind because it is such a large scale thing. But, encourage everyone to go check it out this weekend. August, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for bringing these wonderful models.
Yeah, I hope I didn't destroy anything.
No, we did. I almost got stuck